Hello, hello. Here
Morning.
we are, another edition of Babe Talk. Today I finally got Heather to come. Look, this is how you get Heather to come somewhere. You get her giant coffees and then she comes where you tell her to go.
It's that simple.
She's very easy to please. So, anyway, so I'm so excited for this week that we have Heather back, and she has a great topic she's going to share with us. I did want to give you guys a little update. We had such a fun time doing some headshots recently, and we did it with Michelle Stevenson, and she did such a great job, and we were able to get the headshots on the website now, and they were so much fun. We did them down in Galveston, and I just thought it was a really neat time, and some different headshots for our website and different things like that. So you guys go take a look, let us know what you think, and so take it away, Heather. What you got for us this week?
Okay, so today we're going to talk about baby language. So a lot of you guys have heard about body language and how to kind of read people by how their body is. So I am very animated, so you can read my body language very, very well. With babies, we can kind of do the same thing. So aside from verbal language, we can look at their body and the way that they're responding to things. And truly, if we acknowledge and know what their instincts and reflexes are, that gives us the ability to communicate to them on their level. And I often tell parents that a lot of our job is to help teach them to communicate to their babies on their level, because they can't speak our language, clearly. So we have to learn to speak theirs.
And it takes a while because you're just getting to know them. I mean, this kid you just met maybe a couple of days ago, and you're trying to figure out what they're communicating with. So what are some ways we can figure out their communication?
Yeah, so a lot of these reflexes and instincts really do affect the breastfeeding relationship. And it can cause a lot of confusion for mom when she's trying to breastfeed a baby and doesn't understand what these reflexes are truly doing to that breastfeeding relationship. So a couple of them I want to bring up are the suck reflex and the rooting reflex. These are a couple really, really big reflexes that pertain to breastfeeding. So the rooting reflex is that reflex where from nose to chin, ear to ear, this whole zone here, if baby feels anything here when they're hungry, they're gonna go, what food's there? Okay. Food's up here? Oh, all right. Okay, thanks, Mom. Down here? What? Okay. So we can communicate to them where food is. So if mom knows that, that gives them the ability to say, hey, honey, food is right here.
It's your baby.
This can be, yes, my baby. Clearly. This can be really helpful when we think about where our hands are positioned. So if our hands are positioned at the base of the baby's head, where we want it to be, but let's say mom's got kind of longer fingers, or we've got a finger kind of going over to this cheek here, and baby's turning the head down this way and not coming to the breast, mom is like, baby doesn't want the breast. Yes.
Yeah. Or that pillow. Like I find that sometimes if they're like laying on the pillow and that pillow touches their cheek, they'll like root onto the pillow.
Okay.
And it can be so frustrating for the mom because she's like, wait, come over here. I'm like, I'm over here. Right. So what are some ways that you could like encourage the baby to come where they're supposed to be?
So knowing that piece of information will give you that ability to realize like, okay, all right, maybe something's making baby turn this way, so let me try to avoid that. And then use your nipple. Nipple touching that upper lip. Say, hey, honey, food's right here. So baby knows that. So you're communicating, hey, food's right here. It's all good. And baby's like, oh, all right, thanks, Mom. Bam.
I see what happens a lot of times that moms will like stroke the nipple from nose down to chin, and then the baby's like, you know, like trying to chase the nipple down. And so I really talk about just leaving the nipple like right in between the nose and the lip, and make that baby reach so that they can get that chin extension and the
drop that jaw. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It makes a big difference. But it also really helps the baby to get the proper communication of where food is so that they aren't getting frustrated as well. Like I'm looking, but I can't find it. Which can really cause some frustration with the latching process. The second reflex that's really important in latching the baby onto the breast is the suck reflex. So the suck reflex is that reflex that when baby feels the stimulation at the palate, a little further back here where the hard and soft palate begin to meet. So it's a lot further back than a lot of moms think. So
I know, you can like run your tongue along the roof of your mouth, and then when you feel it get soft, that's where their suck reflex is. So it's really far back there.
And it's essentially like a little button. When that little button is pushed, it tells the baby to suck. So we have that ability to communicate with baby. Okay, food is where? Here? Okay, thanks, Mom. Now what? Open up, bring them in, suck. So we have that ability to communicate. Food's right here, now suck. If they don't feel that stimulation, and I guarantee most of you out there have seen this, I don't care if it's a breast nipple, a bottle nipple, a pacifier. If the baby has it in their mouth, and it's central or it's by the tongue, and that nipple is not where it should be at the roof of the mouth and far enough back to hit that suck button, you're gonna see this.
The crazed animal.
Yes.
Like,
And most parents, most moms are like, baby doesn't want the breast. Baby doesn't want to nurse. Yes, and it's not working. And truly, it's just as simple as going, okay, I'm not pushing the suck button. Let me get to that point. Maybe reposition where the nose is across from the nipple so the nipple's already up top. Or maybe bring them in a little quicker.
Yeah, and a little deeper.
And
I think also another aspect to that is like the suck button here and then the chin pressing, I think makes a big difference. Because even if you get it in far enough, like I see this sometimes with bottle feeding, like if the baby doesn't feel something along their chin, you know, sometimes they won't connect. And it can make it really frustrating. They do that crazed like animal thing, and then you can't even get them to latch on.
And it's really frustrating for parents. It really is.
Yes. So I have two reflexes that I wanted to talk about that I use a lot when I'm helping parents latch on. So one is the back of the baby's head. So when you have a baby, and especially if you're a first-time parent, we're just so like careful. We're wanting to make sure their head and neck are so well supported, which is so important when you're carrying them around and they might have a lot of movement. But when we're getting them to the breast, we want to make sure we actually avoid touching the back of the head because they have a reflex here, and it's actually part of the reflexes from when they're being born. So as they come down to be born, they have to tilt their head back to come out of the womb. And so part of that is if you push here, they're going to be like, oh, I'm being born again. And they're going to have this movement. Now this is, you know, early newborn stage, but it can be really frustrating to parents because it feels like the baby's pushing away or like doesn't want to be that close to you, and so moms get really timid to pull the baby in because then they feel the baby push back. So if we use our hands just at the base of the skull and all the pressure pulling the baby in is right through the shoulder, so we pull the baby here, and then the fingers around the baby's head are all supportive. They're not like pinching together or pushing. So we don't want to pivot the baby's head forward. We just want to push in the shoulders. And I think this can make a big difference for if the baby actually pushes back against you and feels like they're not willing to come into the breast. And we think about the most natural position for the baby to latch on in is that recline, laid back position with baby leading the way. And in that position, which is most natural to their reflexes, there's nothing touching their head, not even their neck, because usually gravity's holding them on and you might just be barely wrapped around them like this, but it's really gravity and them coming really close to you. If we take how well babies do in that position and then translate it into a more seated position, because obviously you're not going to be in the middle of Target like, I need to nurse my baby and lay down, right? You've got to be able to nurse sitting up sometimes.
Right.
And so we need to remember that babies are really geared to not have anything touch the back of their head, to be able to be pulled in gently and comfortably for them as well. The other feeding reflex that I feel like parents get really, really frustrated with is the arms. Okay, can we get a shout out for how many parents have fought newborn arms? Yeah, I know, it's like and it's so frustrating because you're like, I'm trying to put the nipple in your mouth and all you do is throw your hands in the way. But going back to their most natural feeding reflexes and how they most naturally would latch on with their own ability, they use their hands a lot and for very specific purposes. So one, they're kind of bracing themselves and moving along the chest, to get to the breast. But they're also swiping across their face like this, really repetitively, so that they can find the nipple and make it stand out by hitting it. Not hitting it, but like swiping across it. And this is in their brain, like instinctually, I must do this. This is important. And it's a real big important reason why we don't want to take their hands away from them by like swaddling down. I find that babies get swaddled down, they're actually more disorganized, or they might fall asleep like right away because they're just like all swaddled down. So yes, although very frustrating to have the baby's hands in the way, we can gently move them out of the way, and or have a partner come and just kind of hold their hands on the breast. So you don't want to pull the baby's hands all away so they can't use them at all, but you could have a partner hold the hand just gently on the breast if it's just really, really in the way. But know that this is a very normal behavior that the babies have, and they grow out of it. So most, babies by 8 weeks or so are not doing quite so many hands in the way. And the other thing is to catch them early, because I feel like it gets crazy when they are waiting too long and they're like frantic to eat, and then their hands go nutso. But if we use these feeding reflexes to our advantage, we can communicate so much better. So when your baby is moving their hands all around, they're not pushing you away. They're using what is internally in them to get to your breast and feed. So,
and remember too that if you're communicating that reading reflex with them, touching the nipple on that upper lip, you're also helping them to understand that's not needed anymore. Okay, I can calm down.
It's right here. Right. Yeah. You're just really reassuring them, like the breast is here, let's go. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your information today. Thank you for everybody who joined us and following along with our videos. We really enjoy having this time with you guys and getting to share information.
Hope it's helpful.
Yeah, and we would love to hear topics that you guys are interested in. We're thinking next week like all about nipples, because there's so much like nipple misinformation. Would you agree?
Definitely nipple.
Yeah, and nipple judgment. Like everybody's so judgy. Like your nipples are short, your nipples are long, your nipples are too big, your nipples are too small. It's like,
and let me tell you, every mom is perfect.
Yes.
Don't ever listen to anything else.
Yeah, you're gonna be just fine with whatever nipples you have. We can work it out. Okay, so let us know if that sounds like an interesting topic to you. Remember that you can always schedule an appointment with Heather and I if you go to the website, and there's a schedule now, and Rita is also now taking appointments. So definitely come and get an appointment if you guys are needing any help with these difficult feeding situations, and we will look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.